And I suppose having that conversation, finally being able to say it out loud, helped me to begin to release it. And I would say not even a week after that conversation, I had a vision. And I believe this vision is of what happened so many generations ago in my own family. I'm feeling like it's more so my father's side of the family. Anxiety and addiction runs heavily on my father's side of the family, especially through the males, the men in the family. Right. And was I guess being FTM, transgender, and as well as just I guess being in a life chapter of being ready to move past the emotions that have kept me from living a fulfilling life. And I suppose that feeling of abandonment was connected to the anxiety that I have around making connections with people. It's like I avoid the connection because I'm really avoiding the feeling of abandonment, because that is a habit. I have been one of those people who can make a connection quickly, but takes me forever to let go. It's like once I feel an attachment, it's just like my gut instinct or my knee-jerk reaction is to fight like hell to keep the connection, even when it's hurting. And it's a habit. I guess it's one of those things that needed to be released so that I can move forward into this next phase of my life, with an ability to form healthy connections and with an ability to let go when it's time to let go. So this vision that I had, in this vision, I was the boy's mother in the vision. I was her. And because I was her, I could feel what she was feeling and I could think what she was thinking. And I realized the anxiety that I was feeling that week, it was almost like I was being her in the 3D up till the moment I had the experience. In this case, for her, it was an anticipation of going to see her son again. And again, I believe these people are in my lineage, so I couldn't tell you if that was my grandfather or his father. I feel like it's I don't think it was my father. I think it might have been either my father, either my father's father or his father. That's what it felt like. Because how people were dressed, it didn't feel like it was super duper long ago. It's the best way that I can put it. All right. So in the vision, I was her, and my story was that of I left him because I'm gonna speak in the first person because it's easier that way. I left him because I wanted to get better. I had an addiction, and I needed to get clean. I needed to get my life together, And so I left him with family. I didn't literally abandon him. I left him with family so that I can get myself together, so that I can come back and be a better parent. And I remember it was kind of like if I could compare it to watching a movie or film, whatever. It was like a close shot. It was such a close shot that I couldn't necessarily tell if I was walking into a house or an apartment. I kind of feel like it was a house. I know the ceilings were really high and it was really well lit. I can see that. I remember just walking through this door into a room where there was a lot of sun coming into the room, and I just remember seeing a little boy. He looked to be about 6 or 7 years old, and he actually looked a lot like how I look right now, but 6, 7 years old with a short haircut like this, and about the same complexion and the same long head. And I remember his face, and his face looked a lot like what my face looks like when I'm really sad. I remember thinking that. And because he was just kind of sitting off to the side like this, and his face was really low, and there was tears coming down his eyes. And I just walked over. I just literally came into the door. I saw him looking sad, and I could feel that sadness, and it was like, oh, and I just like went over and I just picked him up, and I said to him, do you remember me? And then he like nodded like that. He's like, do you remember me? And you know who I am. So, and then we just hugged. So I could tell it was a while that she had been away. And so I'm sharing this because I have a lot of friends that tell me about these dreams that they have, and I'll try to explain to them how some dreams are visions. But all dreams and visions, because if you want to be technical, a dream is also a vision. All visions are spirit ways of communicating with us. All visions it's a way for our spirit to process things that may be difficult for us to process in the 3D. And this is a perfect example of getting to the root of the feeling of abandonment. So I wake up the next morning from that vision, and I realized that I was able to witness the experience that was likely very much at the root of an emotion that's carried throughout my family, and most likely on the male side of the family, because that's likely what the little boy was feeling. So in other words, it was likely the little boy who sucked down and pushed down a lot of feelings of abandonment and regret and resentment. And that person, he probably never actually really processed those emotions. And I wouldn't even be surprised if that boy is my grandfather, because he also struggled with addiction. My grandfather struggled with addiction. My father struggled with addiction. And I've definitely struggled with anxiety, the same anxiety. And I also been having a hard time quitting cigarettes. I'm honestly even surprised at myself for having even haven't gotten caught up in smoking cigarettes. I guess that part of me felt like that was better than becoming an alcoholic. And it was but I also feel like everything happens for a reason. I feel like spirit wanted me to recognize my anxiety better, and it's as backwards as it might sound, I might not have taken my anxiety as seriously had it not spiraled into a smoking habit. There. And yeah, I might not have put so much thought. I might not have made that connection. I might not have made so many connections from anxiety to all these different emotions. I might have just. I think I just in the beginning would have just. I think I just kind of assumed that my anxiety had to do with overthinking, and I think I just kind of left it at that. I didn't realize there was unprocessed feeling of emotions from generations ago, like unprocessed anxiety about, you know, what the mom was feeling in regards to how's he gonna feel about me? Is he gonna be mad at me? Is he gonna remember me? Is he gonna recognize me? I've felt those feelings too. I've felt this anticipation that one of the reasons that kept me from transitioning was, I guess I was worrying what people would think about me, my changes, but then I realized I don't really care. And then, like, where did that come from? That, like, these is some of the feelings and emotions that we have are emotions that were unprocessed from generations before us. And one thing I've learned is too much of avoiding interaction actually doesn't allow certain emotions to be triggered. And this is one of those cases where a little bit of getting triggered is good. It's like the interaction I have with the person triggers certain emotions, and my willingness to express those emotions allowed it to move from wherever it was to somewhere else. And then I was able to have that vision. I guess I'm saying all this to say, after now, in the aftermath of having that vision, I realized I don't have those feelings anymore. I don't have that feeling. I don't feel abandoned anymore. I don't feel lonely anymore. And the anxiety that I was feeling around transitioning, I don't feel too many of those feelings anymore either. But also at the same time, I don't necessarily feel overly excited. I guess I'm finally just in this space of just being, not excited, but not necessarily scared, just being. Like they say, it is what it is, right? Like, whatever it is right now. I don't have to feel, there doesn't have to be a feeling that goes with everything. Everything doesn't have to come with an emotional reaction. And so, for the first time, I've honestly just been sitting. For the first time, I'm not feeling those feelings. For the first time, I'm feeling the feeling of not having those emotions buried in me. And releasing emotion leaves kind of empty space. And I guess I'm at this place of, I guess it is up to me to decide what emotions I'm going to move into those spaces, move into those voids. Or am I to just learning to be without those emotions? I'm sharing what I'm sharing, but I also still have questions. I have questions. And